How are you doing? You've been asked that question thousands of times, and I'd be willing to bet your answer almost always falls into one of these. I'm fine. I'm tired. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm mad. I am stressed. And the person who asked accepts it, and you both move on. After a decade of sitting across from people and asking the same question, I can tell you almost nobody actually answers it. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you a 3-level question you can ask yourself that cuts through the blanket words in under 60 seconds. But it only works if you understand why your brain threw the blanket there in the first place. But let me ask you something deeper. Were you actually fine?
Hey, what are you actually feeling right now? Like, what's really going on inside?
Stressed, hungry, and tired.
But what kind of stressed? Overwhelmed? Anxious? Like, what's underneath it?
I'm stressed, hungry, and tired.
He's feeling 10 things at once and reaching for the same 3 words you do. The feelings are there, the vocabulary isn't. And when the words run out, the volume goes up.
Or was fine just the fastest word you could find? So you didn't have to dig into what you were really feeling. Here's what I think is happening. Most of us have about 6 emotional words we rotate through. Fine, tired, happy, mad, sad, stressed. That's our whole vocabulary for what's going on inside. But think about how complex your actual experience is on any given day. You're not just stressed. You might be feeling overlooked at work, which is triggering a fear of being invisible, which connects to a childhood where your contributions were never acknowledged. That's what's actually happening inside, but we don't have the words for all of that. So we compress this entire layered experience into one flat word, stressed. And then we wonder why nothing changes, why we keep snapping at the people we love, why compliments bounce off us, why we make the same mistakes over and over. It's because we can't fix what we can't name. And most of us are trying to navigate an incredibly complex inner world with the resolution of a 1990s flip phone camera. This pattern shows up in a lot of places, not just in people who seem emotionally shut down, in people who are thoughtful, who are trying to do the work. Even they hit the same wall. They feel something, they know something is off, but when they try to put it into words, the resolution is just too low. This is what I call low resolution self-awareness. You're not broken, you just don't have the vocabulary. And when you cannot name what you're feeling, you cannot change it. Lisa Feldman Barrett is a neuroscientist who spent her career studying how emotions actually work. She found that people who have more precise vocabulary for their emotions regulate those emotions significantly better. She calls this emotional granularity. Here's what that means in plain language. A person with low granularity feels something and labels it bad. That's it. They can't tell you if they're disappointed or resentful or lonely. It's all just one big blur, right? But a person with high granularity can say, I'm feeling dismissed. And that's activating a pattern from when I was young, where my father would talk over me, and what I'm really feeling underneath the anger is grief. Same moment, same trigger, but the second person can see the entire landscape. The first person can only see the fog. And here's what Barrett's research found. The person with high granularity makes better decisions, has healthier relationships, recovers from setbacks faster. For one reason, they can see what they're working with. Now, this connects to something deeper. Michael Polanyi was a philosopher who coined the term tacit knowledge. His famous line was, "We know more than we can tell." And this is exactly the problem. You already know something is off. Your body knows it. Your gut knows it. When you snapped at your partner in episode 1, some part of you knew it wasn't about the garbage. The knowledge is there, but it's trapped. Trapped beneath a vocabulary that's too small to bring it to the surface. And this connects to the value behavior gap this whole channel is about. The gap persists, not because we're lazy, not because we're broken, but because most of us have never been given the language to describe what's actually happening inside of us. Our parents said, "Stop crying," not "What are you feeling?" Our culture said, "Man up," not "Name it." You see, so we grew up with 6 words, and we've been trying to solve complex emotional problems with 6 tools in the toolbox. So, how do we go from 6 pixels to high definition? Beautiful pivot number 1. Expand your vocabulary. Next time you feel stressed, stop and ask, what kind of stressed? Am I overwhelmed? Meaning there's too much on my plate? Am I anxious? Meaning I'm afraid of what might happen? Am I resentful? Meaning I'm carrying something that should have been someone else's? Am I depleted? Meaning I gave too much today without refilling? 4 completely different experiences. Each one has a different cause and different solution. But if all you have is the word stressed, you'll try the same fix for all 4 and wonder why it doesn't work. Now, expanding the vocabulary is important, but here's where most people stop. They get a slightly better word and think that's enough. It's not. Because sometimes the real thing you're feeling is buried underneath the first answer you give yourself. Beautiful pivot number 2. The "what am I really feeling" ladder. This is the tool that takes you from surface all the way down to the root. When you catch yourself using one of those 6 default words, don't just find a better word and move on. Ask yourself 3 times in a row, but what am I really feeling? Let me walk you through exactly what this looks like. You sit down at the end of a long day. Someone asks you, "How are you doing?" And the word that comes up is stressed. First pass. But what am I really feeling? I'm frustrated. I worked hard on that presentation and nobody said a word. Now the second pass. But what am I really feeling underneath that? I feel invisible, like my effort doesn't register. Now the third pass. And what's underneath that? Well, I'm afraid that no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be enough. That was underneath stress the entire time. 3 layers deep. And each layer changes what you're actually dealing with. Stressed makes you want to take a bath. Frustrated makes you want to vent. Invisible makes you want to be acknowledged. But I'm afraid I'm never going to be enough. That's a core belief. And that requires a completely different kind of attention than stress ever did. Now, I need to prepare you for what your brain is going to do when you try this first time, because it's going to fight you. Your brain does not want to go 3 levels deep. It just wants to accept the first answer and just move on. So when you go, "Oh man, I feel stressed," and the brain goes, "Okay, fine. You're stressed. Okay, now let's just go watch Netflix." That's not necessarily being lazy. It's a brain's way of protecting you, actually. Your brain knows deeper answers are often uncomfortable. So it offers you the surface word like a shield. Here, just take stressed. That's close enough, right? No, the move is to go further anyway, because the surface word only tells you something is wrong. It cannot tell you what is wrong. The latter gets you to the thing actually driving it. And once you can name that thing, you can finally do something about it. Here's the counterintuitive part. The answer you need most is almost always 1 level below where your brain wants to stop. If your brain says, okay, that's enough, that's the signal to ask one more time. The resistance is the compass. But I want to be honest. The first time you do this, you might land somewhere tender, right? Something you've been carrying for years. If that happens, you don't have to solve it. You just have to see it. Because a feeling that's been named has less power than a feeling that's been buried. And sometimes the third answer is just, I don't know. That's not failure. It means you've left the territory of easy answers. And that's where the real work begins. So here's a frame for tonight. You don't need to master all three levels right away. You need to do one thing. Next time you catch yourself saying stressed or fine or tired, right? Ask one more question. But what am I really feeling? Just one layer deeper, right? And every time you go one layer deeper, the resolution goes up. Beautiful pivot number 3. Check in with your body. Barrett's research shows emotions don't just live in your head. They show up in your body first. Tight jaw means something different than tight chest. Once a day, stop. Put your hand on your chest and ask, what is my body holding right now? You don't need the perfect word. Just notice. Is it heavy, tight, buzzing? Is it numb? Right? Your body has been sending you data all day. The beautiful pivot is to finally start listening. If this episode shifted something for you, share this with someone who needs it. Or better yet, watch it together. Because when two people, a friend, a partner, someone you love, upgrade their resolution together, the conversations become a completely different experience. Now, you have the lens. You understand that low resolution keeps us stuck. So let's take the lens into a place where it gets really uncomfortable. You're in a conversation with your friends. They're telling you something that matters to them. And while they're talking, your brain fires a thought, a story of your own. And before they even finish, you jump in. You didn't mean to cut them off, but the thought felt urgent. And by the time you realize what happened, well, your friends have gone quiet. You just saw yourself do it, but you couldn't name what was driving it. That's low resolution in action. The next video is called Why You Interrupt People. And it's not the reason you think. I'll show you the exact mechanism that fires a second before you cut someone off, and 3 ways to catch it before your friends and loved ones go quiet. We are beloved. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one.